Well, hello folks. Welcome back to the Hilltop Pillbox here in Abbotsford, British Columbia, Canada. And today, yes, we are going to do a solo game of 1914, but with COVID kind of waning out, you can see it's losing its teeth now. People are getting vaccinated and a lot of states are opening up. Our provinces in Canada are still pretty tightened up. Not under the jackboots of National Socialism or anything, but the next best thing, I guess. But we're slowly opening. There's a promise of hope coming along here, but might just be dangling a carrot in front of us too. You never know. But we've gotten pretty used to doing solo games, and so what I'm going to do today, I'm going to play this with my optional rule that Italy does not begin at war and needs to roll a 1 to get into the war on the first turn, a 2 to roll to get into the war on the second turn, a 3 to get a roll on the third turn, and on the fourth turn Italy is at war. So while it's prepping for a war, it cannot be attacked. If it gets attacked, obviously it's in the war. But while it's prepping for war, it only gets half its income, so only $7, and it cannot move any of its troops or naval units. It can defend itself, of course, but we're going to do with that. And we are not playing with the Russian Revolution rule, but we are playing low luck. Okay, so if you're not familiar with low luck, essentially if we had the British coming in here, so we'd have 4 infantry at 2, and then we'd have 4 other units at 3. So 4 at 2 is 8, 4 at 3 is 12, that's 20. So you divide that by 6, which gives you 3 auto hits. So you know you're going to win this battle, and so you don't have to roll any extra. But let's say there were 4 units here. Then you would get another roll with the remainder of 2, right? Because 20 divided by 3 is 6, that's 18. And you'd have 2 left and you'd roll. So I'm really glad that my teachers in the 70s and 80s made me do my times tables. So low luck's a piece of cake for most of us who learn the old math. I'm not sure about the new math right now. And in defense here, we can say we've got 3 at 3, so that's 1 definite hit. But then we'll have another roll at 3 or less to get a second hit on the British coming in. So that is what we are going to do today. And other people have suggested a couple of things. One is that Munich should be a place to build. But I don't want to change too much of the game yet with this low luck, just to kind of see if the low luck actually works out. I've been told low luck favors the Central Powers, and we know they kind of get the boots put to them in this game. So we're going to put that to the test today. We're going to play it out of box rules, except for my Italy and the low luck. And we'll see how it goes. Let you know how it goes at the end of turn 1. Alright, round 2 is done, and the low luck seems to be working pretty well, and fairly status quo here on the Eastern Front. The Russians like to bulk up here in Belarus and see if they're going to have an opportunity. They've emptied out Ukraine, but have sizable forces down here to inflict some pain on Austro-Hungarians. And Austro-Hungary sent everything this way, and they were able to figure out what to do, because they have 18 infantry, and 4 artillery adjacent here that they can send here, and with that they can easily overwhelm both of those territories and take them. Yeah, you take some losses, but at least you know you can take them, so you don't overload. So I think that's why there might be an advantage to the CP at the beginning, because they can do the math and just figure out pretty much exactly what they need to do in order to secure these territories, and now they have. And no one's really in a position to oust them, as is fairly typical in this game. Down in the Middle East, the British put everything they could into Persia. Couldn't get that last hit. They had 20 points worth of hits, and so that's 3, and then they had to roll a 2, and they rolled a 5. So there's 1 Persian left. Just use the Turkish sculpt. But Britain built her whole build down here this turn, which I know some people say, oh, you should only build 4 or 5 units, and that's fine. But I think with the low luck, Britain needs to be able to challenge the Ottomans' ability to build everything down here. So, and as we know, the Ottomans tend to do pretty well at the beginning Although they did lose Transjordan because, again, the low luck allowed Britain to know exactly how much to bring in to win that. Now, as we look, Britain is down. Oh, they shouldn't be down that much. Good grief. They only should be down one, because the Ottomans, yeah, the Ottoman got missed on their other roll. So they had 3 at 3 defending. So that's one hit with a 6, and then they need to roll a 3, and they also missed. So the Brits are okay here, but again, the Ottoman are coming down with quite a load of things. So if you do the math really quickly here, you're going to have 6 at 3, which is 18, so that's 3 hits. And then you're going to have, what do we got here? We got 11, so that's 8 more at 2, that's 16. So that's 2 more hits plus a possible 4. So it's a guaranteed 5 hits and maybe another one. So the Brits, sensing that, will likely back off and regroup. Okay? That's how the low luck is working. Over here, once again, the British came in with 3 units, so they knew that they would get at least 1 hit. They failed on their second hit, and the Germans had 2 in defense at 3, so it's an auto hit for them. The typical trading of things going on here. The French went up to Portugal, of course. On the Eastern Front, Italy did not get its roll. Not the Eastern, sorry, Southern Front. Italy did not make its roll, so it is not able to move anything and only collected 7, but it did build 1 of each in Rome. And on here, the Germans, again, are able to figure out exactly what they need to send, and so they're able to take Holland and Belgium without worrying about bad dice and not taking it. So I think that's probably the big reason why you know you're going to do well here at the beginning with the Central Powers. Now, as time goes on, we'll see if the economies come to bear and force the issue with the Central Powers, that they're going to have to do different things. Of course, America just saved her money, and that's where we are. The Germans came in here with the low luck. Mine's got 1 sub, but after that, it's just math, and that's what you end up with. The Germans took 1 hit, and ended up losing 3 subs total, and the British lost their fleet. And it's just math, right? A little bit of dice rolling, but they were equal on that. Okay, so round 1 is over. We're going to head to round 2 over there. Alright, turn 2 is done. Just going to start turn 3 here shortly. And on the Eastern Front, we can see that Germany has expanded greatly into Russian territory. But as I'm working the numbers here, I think they're going to be able to hold on. But again, this turn will be a little telling. But I think working the math here, the Russians, it's going to be close. They may have to retreat from Ukraine, depending on how this next battle goes. But they have quite a bit of force here. But that has only been gained at the loss of a ton of territory, right? Like, they moved everybody into Ukraine last turn to put the boots here. So that means that you're going to lose Sevastopol to the Turks. But the British were able to take Persia and will now be marching forward. They took Arabia, of course, evacuated Transjordan down to Egypt, and brought some guys over that they had taken to Algeria and brought them over here to bulk up a little bit in the Middle East, because the Turks do have quite a bit of stuff. Turks built a fighter this turn because the Brits have one, and you need to be careful when somebody's got a fighter and you don't, and they've got artillery to boot. Not a lot of fun. So here in Africa, fairly typical things going on. The British were able to take care of the lone infantrymen who did get a hit and took out the British gun. And the French, of course, come down here and help liberate. I think this is a very necessary thing in these games. I know a lot of people say, forget Africa, but I've had some of these games go 17, 20 rounds, right? And if Germany is going to be pocketing like $2 or $3 that isn't really contested for that whole time, that's a lot of scratch. That's a lot of tanks you're going to be fighting in round 7 and 8, right? And from then on. So up here, not much going on. Everybody's kind of clearing out. Italy failed on its roll again. So it just continues to build up slowly. Austro-Hungarians are wary of that, of course. They haven't emptied out Tyrolia. They're ready to move if need be, but the rest of their stuff has been headed east. Germans brought their fleet back and will be repairing their battleship this turn, I think. Maybe, we'll see. The French came over and helped out by dropping their 2 battleships here so the British could build a couple transports and start ferrying guys over. Had a monstrous battle in Lorraine where the French brought everything they could to bear, and they actually won. Well, the Germans actually did the big attack. They brought in everything they could bring and a fighter, but the fighter got shot down by the French, and so then the French were able to, with their 8 artillery defending at a 4, well, that's 5 hits right off the bat plus a 2, and they had a ton of infantry, as did the Germans. But the Germans lost all their infantry but 1, of course, and then they also lost 1 artillery. So it's yeah, the Germans kind of took it on the chin there, and if they can't win the Battle of the Air, that might be pretty telling as time goes on. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. The Ukraine battle was bloody. There were 19 hits against the Soviets. Well, sorry, the Russians. We haven't had the revolution yet. The Russians lost 19 units, but the Austro-Hungarians lost 24 units. The Germans were able to get 1 more hit with a die roll. So that's +5 for the Russians, but again, they're taking on 2 empires here, so might not work out for them. And that's pretty much it. America just banked her money. So this is where we are, folks, at the end of round 2. Round 3. Let's see if the Italians will join the war. It's so much fun, guys. Alright, so turn 4 is about to begin, and as we look at the Eastern Front, Russia has been pretty bottled up. They have lost almost everything that is of value. The Brits were able to wrest control of Sevastopol back from the Ottoman Empire. But as you can see, the Russians have skedaddled out of Ukraine. They just didn't have the horses to have a fight with them, and possibly a follow-up by the large German contingent in Poland. So they decided to head home. Now what that means is that, and they got a fighter, and Austria-Hungary has a fighter, that could be very telling. Yeah, it seems as though whoever has a fighter in these battles here just has that little bit of an edge. He gets a couple extra hits here and there, and that can decide the day. Down here, the Ottoman and British lines have been drawn fairly taut, but the British are putting down far more stuff here than the Ottoman. And the Ottoman, knowing it's low luck, you know, heading into Transjordan, yeah, we can get a buck back, but we can see that the Brits have quite a bit of stuff here and can punch back quite effectively. So they're going to let that dollar go for now. Germany has been pushed out of Africa. Just like Robert Redford and Meryl Streep, they're gone. They still have 2 territories they still lay claim to, but the French and the British will take care of that this round. Italy is finally in the war. Yes, Italy rolled what they needed to roll, much to the chagrin of Austria-Hungary, who's not really prepared for a tilt yet. They may have to just send in what they can here and hope the Germans can mop up the rest. But now Austria-Hungary definitely has problems on this side, so they will have to swing some units this way. On the Western Front, the French were able to marshal a lot of forces here and put the boots to the Germans, who had to skedaddle. So they've had to retreat a bit. Now they have a steady stream of reinforcements coming, but you know what? So do the French and English. So this low luck thing doesn't seem to be working out with the CP as much as previously thought. Now, in their defense, the Germans have lost 2 fighters to this 1 French fighter, which hurts a lot when the other guys have 6, 10, 12 artillery, right? It can really, really hurt. So they have taken full advantage of that, the French, and have been able to push the Germans off their soil. The British have finally landed here in Picardy, and they are ready to lend a hand over there. That's pretty much it for the wrap up for turn 3. As we know, America is now in the war with $80 to spend, and we will show you what they buy right after this. Yeah, the rain's coming. Here we go. So the Russians defeated the Austro-Hungarian thrust, destroyed everything in one round. It was very, and it was just math, no die roll. But then the Germans came in and really put the boots to the Russians. Now, having said that, the Russians have held on, and they still have their artillery going to be firing at a 4, but they might take too many hits here. They're going to be able to plant. They have $15, so they can plant 5 men. That might not be enough to survive much longer, but the Germans have decided to send everything westward because, good grief, the French have come into Alsace. The Germans had to retreat because they would have lost everything. And now the Germans have been able to build up quite a force here, and they got good stuff coming, so they might be able to parry this thrust, as it were. Austro-Hungary, now that Italy is in the game, had to commit some resources this way. But Italy came here and took Albania, as it is wont to do. But they also took, yes, Bulgaria. They took Bulgaria. They kind of skirted through the Constantinople Straits and were able to do that. Now, I know some people who play that this strait is closed to any traffic. We play just observe the mines. All right, so you're taking your chance. So they took a chance, went through there, and got that. So if you have a house rule that says you can't go through here unless you own Constantinople, we don't like that because that is effectively that keeps the Black Sea out of the game until the Turks are out, right? And that's just that's boring, right? So we like to spice things up a little bit. Over here, the British and the Turks fought to a standstill over a couple of rounds of combat, but the British have some more stuff coming, including a nice stack of shiny new tanks, half of which will probably break down. Over here, the British again did not go into Transjordan as they didn't see a need to, but they may do it this turn because the Turks just don't have enough stuff to go both ways, and now they're hurting for economy. They are down 4 from their original, so they're down to 12 now. Probably be lower than that shortly. Africa is all done up now. Nothing left for the Germans at all. Italy has marshaled her scant resources and brought guys up north to block the possible move by the Austro-Hungarians. The Western Front we've already taken a little peek at, and the British and the French are there. There is a story to be told, and it's a sad one. The Germans had a battleship, 2 cruisers, and a sub that started in 10. And they decided, you know what, if we can get rid of these British transports, that'll, cause a couple of rounds of grief for the Brits. And so they came across. And in Season 9, they lost both subs. Then they went in here and they lost a cruiser and a sub. Came into the next season, Season 8, they lost the remaining cruiser and the battleship took a hit. Yeah, so they got 2 hits out of 4 here, and they got 2 here, and then their battleship missed on its surviving shot, and of course the French battle wagons sank her. So that was about the worst thing that could have happened, but there was really nothing for it. They weren't doing anything, and Germany's not about to spend money on Navy right now, so there you have it. So the big story will be, will Moscow fall? And I think mathematically it can. I haven't done all the math to it, but it's possible. And if the Ottomans get pushed back here, which they likely will this round, and the British land here, and now they're losing some of their little bonus money here. Austria-Hungary is now getting pressed from both sides, and I think this is going to be an Entente victory, even if Russia gets taken. I think the Entente has got this one looking pretty good. I've been wrong before, though. Stay tuned, and we'll find out. Those are the sounds of Melancholy Baby, which is typically not a Russian But it is today. The Germans have taken it over. Moscow has fallen. And yeah, that's what we have left. So there's quite a bit of stuff left there for the Germans. They've got 15 units left. Austro-Hungarians have a couple. So Moscow is in their hands for the foreseeable future. The British were able to take Mesopotamia and scared off the Turks. The Turks have had to turtle. The turtling Turks, as they may be called in this iteration, just don't have the economy to skate with the big boys. So when we do low luck next time, we may put a limit here for the Brits. Because the Brits have spent about 95% of their money down here in India, and they just can't compete. Now, the Turks do start with a whole lot more stuff than the British have down here, so yeah, it's kind of 6 one, half dozen the other, perhaps. The Italians have taken the empty Serbia and annoyed the Austro-Hungarians, and the British moved up into Galicia to take that. So the Austro-Hungarians are going to have to split their forces now. They've got a lot of problems, and they got a huge problem up here because the Italians were able to destroy the invaders in Venice, and they've got quite the stack of artillery there. They may need some rescuing by the German forces. Speaking of the German forces, they had to turn around, as we know, last round and come back, and they had to come back even further, but they've coagulated into a fairly decent force now and should be able to repel all comers, and everything is now headed towards France. There's nothing for it, but they got to go to France. But again, they may have to send stuff south to bail out the Austro-Hungarians, who may have to send stuff south to bail out the Turks. So this is almost following a very standard game of this. I don't think low luck has really changed much at all. The Americans, though, came over here, and knowing it was low luck, on turn 4 I built a tank, knowing that they could then take Spanish Morocco, because Spanish Morocco would just be defending at 6, right? And that's the first hit gets absorbed by the tank on attack, so no damage, so they can take that for free in low luck. No chance of losing anything. But now they have 14 units on 7 transports ready to come over here and likely land in Albania. Might even take Greece, just because. Now Greece, though, is going to be punching back with 2 hits, so one thing will die for the Americans, but that might be worth it to get an extra couple extra bucks each round. France is looking fairly secure at this point, but moving forward, we will figure that out. Now, if Austria-Hungary falls, like it's not looking very good right now for Austria-Hungary. If they fall, if they absolutely cannot survive, we'll call it, because yeah, Constantinople, the Turks are definitely in turtle mode. It's math now, right? And if they fall, and if Vienna falls, we're gonna call it. But that's a long ways off. But now I get to go do some yard work. Won't that be fun? Yes. Yes, it will. All right. We'll see you shortly, and we'll continue the game. See if Germany can push the issue. Okay, round 6 is over. Headed into round 7. And the drumming you hear in the background is my son, who's quite an accomplished percussionist, and he's just practicing. He's moved back home, so he's got to keep up his skills. And yeah, so here we've got the Germans and Austro-Hungarians moved into Ukraine, and from there they can either head south or head west. But we'll show you why heading south might be a bad idea. A lot of tanks coming out of India right now, a lot of stuff coming out here. Even the French are over here now. The Italians aren't going to be too long. Oh, I forgot to move them up last round. Yeah, they can move up 1. There you go. And yeah, things are going pretty well here for the Entente. And yeah, the Americans have taken Greece. And they only took 1 hit coming in, so they lost 1 of their infantry. And sad day for the Greeks. You got Danny Boy playing in the background. You got Buddy Rich going on upstairs. It's a very confused time, because we also have the Italians, Austro-Hungarians fighting over Serbia. and it's just kind of a bit of a slugfest there, but by the numbers, the Italians will win. And the Italians also have dropped a ton of guys here in Trieste. They took Tyrolia just for another 4, because why not? Oh, I forgot to put their little token out there. Yeah, they made $23 this round, so I just got a cardboard one, but we'll set that up. And not a lot of stuff coming behind them, though, as you can see, but they do have a transport here to shuttle some stuff across. Austro-Hungarians, yeah, they built 11 men last round, and they'll probably build like 8, 10 men, whatever they've got this round. Just trying to hold on, right? Just trying to hold on. The Germans made a little headway here into France, not quite into France, pardon me, but pushed out the French in the 2 territories of Holland and Ruhr. And the British landed another 4 units in Belgium. And it's funny, your brain starts thinking in terms of 6s as you play with low luck. And so now I can pretty quickly just look at these things and go, yeah, that's an insta kill, and you'll lose 4 units, or whatever. Like you just get to know it. So I recommend it. It's a lot of fun, actually, and then you don't worry about crazy dice deciding the game. Now, everybody knows the dice eventually do even out, but sometimes they even out at the most inopportune times, right? You got 20 guys attacking 2, and they all get hits. And then you got 6 guys attacking 4, and none of them get hits. And it's like, bad timing. So, yeah, there we go. Oh, I forgot to put the American build on, too. We're going to be heading out to go do some shopping here, so I forgot to put on my American shopping, and they made $23. I did collect their money, though, because they've got Spanish Morocco and now Greece, so they're up to $23. And only cost them 1 infantry to get that extra $3, so it's paid itself off already. Alright, so turn 7 is coming up, and Austria-Hungary, I'll do the math, but I don't think heading out here is a good idea, especially when the Italians have got 9 artillery supported by aircraft. So that's 36. That's 6 hits right off the bat just with them. We got another 7 with the 7 infantry at 3. That's 21. So that's another 3, possibly 4 hits. So that could be 10 hits. And that's over half their stuff. Not a lot of fun. All right. Western Front, we're going to have a big battle here. I'm not even going to do the math. Just going to do it. Should be fun. Okay, turn 8 is done, and as we know, Russia is no longer a factor. They might be a game, but for right now they aren't. We're going to head down here and take a look at what we see, and we see that the Brits, although they built a little bit of stuff here this time, most of their build went into at home, and we'll see why in just a moment. Thanks to the 3 transports they have sitting here now, they're able to move 6 units at a time, 2 spaces, so they were able to bring, they only had 2 men to ship though, and they only have that many here, but they've moved them up to here quickly. And then, oh, I forgot again. Alright. The Brits were able to take that, but they didn't take it until the Ottomans backed off. So Britain is slowly gobbling up the Ottoman Empire. The Turks have come back here and were attacked by America. And they put the hurt on America. They got 9 hits, 1 of which was absorbed by the tank. So America lost 8 units there. And yeah, they're down now to 5 units. And only have another single man and a fighter on the heels of that build. So that's the kind of thing with America, right? 1 big punch and then you're kind of down to a trickle. So over here we have Italy, took the rest of Serbia, snuck into Budapest and took that. The Germans are heading this way to lend a hand to Austria-Hungary, but won't be there in time to help out this turn. So Austria-Hungary is going to have to fight her own battles. Trieste is empty, but there is a goodly amount of Italians up in Tyrolia, and enough with the plane to really put the hurt on the any attacking Austro-Hungarians. Now they've bulked up. They've got 20 men and 3 artillery, so they can certainly do a little bit of hurt there as well. They'll get, let's see, do the math quickly, give or take about 8. They'll get about 8, possibly 9 hits, which is a lot, but they'll also receive that and then some. So they got to be careful. Got to be careful. Italians actually built a tank this turn. You know the war is going well for the Entente when the Italians are building tanks. How about that? They have, yeah, basically done everything that they wanted to do. This game, being out of the war, kind of afforded them a little bit of that slow build-up luxury. On the north here, Britain came and took Holland. Took a big chance coming in against the mines, but said why not, and Holland was empty, so in they went. Why was Holland empty? Well, because the Germans had to put everybody into Belgium to counter everybody that the French have, that they have put just outside in Burgundy, just outside of Paris. And so there's a lot of empty terrain right now, and I think we're in that who's going to blink first mode. So the Germans will likely take care of these Brits because they are on the home territory of Alsace. And they do have to take care of the Hollandaise problem over here. And yeah, but it's now that everything's just headed this way, we might see a shift. But France is making quite a bit of scratch, and they are going to be well equipped to deal with the Germans. And if we can get some more Brits over here, once Constantinople falls, and if Austria-Hungary can get subdued by the Brits moving up, and maybe even threaten to get through to Moscow, well, then the Germans and whatnot may have too much trouble for them to handle. So, turn 8, here we go. Not sure if Germany's ready for a big tilt yet. They might need one more turn to bulk up. We'll let you know right after this. Carrying me back to old Virginia. Well, some Virginians are definitely getting involved in this one today, I'll tell you. Well, looking down here, Russia remains the same except for a ton of Brits have showed up. And I mean, it looks like a lot. It's really not that much stuff, just kind of spread out. But there are 9 tanks, 5 men and 2 artillery, and a plane. It's not the biggest army we've seen, of course, but in this area of the board, it's king. And why is it over there? Why didn't the Brits continue to head into... Well, yeah, we'll just tell you. The Brits were able to come and thump Constantinople and took no hits because the defenders doled out 5 damage, but there are 5 tanks, so nothing there. And the Americans landed here as well. The Italians took Trieste back, but Budapest was taken control of again. The Italians actually had to get out of Tyrolia. There's no way they could have withstood any sort of an attack or a defense, so they just got out of there. The Austro-Hungarians spent some of their funds on a fighter, because they do have a few artillery here. Not much, but a few. But they also know the Italians have a fighter, which could cause grief. The Germans had to clean up the British mess that was here, so they didn't actually advance anywhere into France. But they certainly have a monster force now coming forward. And the French have been building tons and tons of men, just hoping to hold on until the British and the Italians can come and save them. But like I said, I won't make you sit and watch that. If Vienna falls, and Vienna's been holding on, definitely. I mean, Italy just doesn't have the economy to cause them a lot of grief. Their economy is about half of what Austria-Hungary's is. But once the Brits come through here and start gobbling up these empty, that's $6 right there, and then they're going to be threatening this way. So I figure 4 rounds from now, and that should let us know. So if Germany can get to Paris before 4 rounds, we'll keep playing, but I don't think they're going to be able to punch through in that amount of time. The Brits... Oh, I forgot to put the Brits build on. My bad. I'm going to put the Brits build on after I am done here. They are not building in India, of course, and they've actually moved the fleet. They're going to try to get this thing into action somehow, somewhere, and hopefully that'll work. I'll put their build on. We just built a whole bunch of men and artillery to go and load up into France to help out the French. And they may actually attempt a landing in Holland, but probably not. But we'll see. Yeah, so as you can see, lots and lots of Frenchmen. They're loading up. Battle of the Marne Part 2. And the ebb and flow of the game continues. And we'll let you know what happens on turn 9 in just a moment. This song is called The World is Waiting for the Sunrise. In fact, I've been playing nothing but World War I tunes this whole time, so hopefully you've enjoyed that if you can hear them. So here we go. So here come the Brits. They're coming up in force up through Russia, and they can actually liberate Moscow next turn. Now whether or not they will, we'll see. I think it might be better for them just to send everybody towards Galicia and whatnot, and really put the pressure on Vienna. Everybody else has been moving up, of course. We got a good stack of tanks here, but they're just so bloody slow, right? And here's the Americans have coagulated here in Serbia, and they'll be able to punch either Budapest or Trieste next turn. The Italians did a little bit of a foolhardy charge. I did the math, and yeah, there's no way they could win, and they were going to get pummeled. But I thought, you know what? We just got to kill Austria-Hungary stuff, right? We just got to kill lots of stuff. And so they killed a bunch of stuff. I think they killed 9 units or something, 9-10 units, and then they lost about that many as well. And they didn't have as much, obviously. So Austria-Hungary weathered that storm, but you know, there's other clouds a-brewing, right? Up here, the Germans continue to be on their erstwhile march westward, and now I think there's probably going to be a big conflagration here next round, possibly. The Germans have brought some fighter cover up to match the French fighter cover. The French have just been building cannon fodder because the plan is just be defense, right? Just be defense, and you know, try to outpunch your assailant. And with the help of the Brits now coming across in force, and that's going to be coming as well, they got a little bit better of a chance. And we also have some more Americans over here now who should be landing in Albania next turn, and be ready to inflict some more damage upon Austria-Hungary. I think it's all over but the crying. We're going to see if Germany... I haven't done the math yet. I know that the French do outnumber them, but if the Germans go around, go to Picardy perhaps, and then load or not Picardy, sorry, yeah, Picardy. Keep forgetting these names. Yeah, Picardy. Thought it was Picardy. And send everybody from Belgium and Lorraine into Picardy, that stack might be a little too daunting for the French to attack. And then the follow-ups, right? More and more stuff coming. So that's probably how we're going to handle Germany this next round. The Brits may send a guy into Moscow, but the Brits are liking this. They're making about 52 or 54 around right now. And if they liberate Moscow, it brings Russia back in, but then they lose $9. But yeah, it might be better to have Russia because they'll have the 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. They'll have $19, right? And more because the Brits will likely take care of all this. And I mean, when we take a look at this, it's only 1, 2, 3 to Berlin, right? It's 2 to Vienna. So yeah, Germany definitely has to attack Picardy this turn and then try to get into Paris next round, but I think the French are too smart for that. They'll just collapse, or they'll take a poke at them. They've got a number of tanks. They've got 6 tanks sitting here, so the first 6 hits are absorbed, and yeah, I mean, there's going to be a lot more than 6 hits, that's for sure. But time will tell. here in turn 10. What will happen? What will happen to Vienna? What will happen to Berlin? But I think it can be argued that low luck only cements the truth that the Central Powers are really behind the 8 ball in this game. I think we may let them build in Munich next turn. What do you think, Central Powers? Yeah. It's a hot time in the old town tonight indeed. Alright, well, Russia is back in the game thanks to their British compadres. And yeah, things are looking pretty bleak for the Central Powers. I think the writing is on the wall. They have lost the Ottomans completely, nothing left on the board. Austria-Hungary, this turn, unless they can come up with some very interesting way of doing things, they're going to be dead in 2 rounds. There's just not enough stuff. We have a British force here going to be taking money from the Germans, so they're going to have to turn around and deal with that. And we had quite the cataclysm here. Over 60 units died total between the Germans and the French, but the Germans got the worst of it because the French have 6 tanks that absorbed 6 of the hits on the attack. The Germans didn't have quite enough to attack, so they brought everybody they could into Picardy, but it was not enough. And the Germans now, they actually ended up losing a couple of artillery as well. So I think this one's pretty much done. We'll do one more round just to see the final tally. We'll see how the Germans respond to this, because as we know, the tanks absorb hits, and right now there's 9 tanks sitting there in Poland. So, and Germans don't have enough to dole out 9 hits, so they might, well, who knows what they're going to do. Probably build a lot of infantry, I think. They're making about $52 a round. Not this round though, because they lost all their Russia holdings, but they were making about $52. But the British on the last round made 62, I believe, scooping up all this juicy territory here, and then having pretty much everything in the Ottoman Empire. Right. So, yeah, I'm not sure low luck changed anything. I thought maybe it would give the Central Powers that little boost they needed at the beginning to really punch in and threaten, but maybe I sent too much stuff towards Russia, and maybe not enough towards Paris. So might have to try this again, see if there's any difference. And I didn't even bother putting the Americans build on, because we're just going to do one more, and anything they bring won't enter into it. And they've got a lot of stuff here, so Austria-Hungary is definitely going to be losing a lot of stuff this turn, and they'd lose their capital in 2 rounds, just guaranteed. There's just too much stuff coming at them, especially if we turn these guys south, right? Which I probably, if I were playing a real game, I probably would, because Germany is no longer a threat to Russia, and we can crush Vienna in 2 turns. All right, well, that's where we are, and the British built that his last round. So they've got lots of stuff coming over again. They landed those 12 units. So they're actually building more than the Germans are, and they've got 4 fighters now to really push the issue on defense. So, all right, we'll see what happens on round 11. I guess I didn't flip the die because it seems like such a foregone conclusion right now, but we're going to do round 11. And with low luck, it's there's no room for miracles on low luck. More's the pity. Pretty baby indeed. Well, this is where we are. We're going to head up here and just show you what happened. The German force was wiped out by their attack. They had to attack and doled out some pretty good hits, but the French just had too many infantry, and then in attack they had 6 tanks. Again, they both got quite a goodly number of hits on each other, but the Germans got wiped out. And then the British actually landed here, even though there were 6 artillery, but 6 artillery, 3 hits, right? And then the British with their aircraft came by, got 3 hits with their aircraft, so it was kind of an even Steven. After that, the Germans got a couple more hits. But and the Germans also had a tank in there that could take a hit, so I mean, it didn't absorb a hit, but it was one of their casualties. That's why the Germans have one more artillery remaining. But you can see the British, in typical cheeky British fashion, took 3 off the Germans. So the Germans are starting to lose their own home territory now, and won't be able to really do much about it. Plus, we've got a million angry Russians going to be following up here fairly shortly. So what we're going to do here is we're going to do the math for you right here in real time, and we'll get this done. And this is, I don't know if we have enough to wipe out Austria-Hungary on this go, but we will in future waves. So I didn't do the math yet. So this is all on defense. We're going to pull these out, and we'll be able to very quickly see how many hits. So the Brits go first, then the Italians, and then the Americans, and we'll see if that's going to be enough to wipe them out. Now, the good thing the Brits have going for them is all these tanks in attack. They're not going to take any hits from the defending troops. So the Brits are going to be standing strong. So we're going to grab these. Part of me really wants to roll this out, but I'm going to stick with my low luck. That's what we set out to do, and to set out to see if it's so I'm not going to tell you the specifics, but I'm actually developing a game right now for historical board gaming, and a little bit of help from Panzer King did some play testing with me. It's hard to do remotely, but we pulled it off. But now I'm putting some finishing tweaks on it, and it's coming together really, really nicely. Can't tell you what the theme or anything is, but it's going to be a good one. And what I've been doing for playtesting is I've been doing low luck, because that's how you find out if there's really balance, right? That's how you find out if there's really balance in what's going on. And just to be a little cheekier, we'll have the Brits take Livonia back. So, sorry Germany. There you go. Alright, a little salt in the moon there. Okay, so to start things off, we have 1 British aircraft, and of course that's at a 1 or a 2. And it's an instant hit, but they got a 3, so they're done. Okay, so now we'll just arrange all this. We've got to count up the artillery, of course. Artillery in the attack is your key. So that's 10, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. So you have 17 artillery that'll be shooting at a 4. So 17 times 4, of course, is 68. So we have 68, and then we have a whole bunch of 3s here. So I just forgot how many we had here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 17? Yeah, let's see, I have 17. So we need 17. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. So we have 17 going to be going at 3, 17 at 4, and then we'll have 5 at 2. Okay. So 5 at 2 is 10. And just to make sure I don't screw this up too badly, we'll just do this on the good old-fashioned phone. Alright. So we've got 10 for the tanks. We've got 68 for the that. And then of course 17 times 3 is 51. So that equals a grand total of 129 divided by 6 equals, so 21 and a half. So it's 21 hits, and then a half means I got to roll a 3 or lower to get another one. Nah, I do that a lot. Okay, so 21 hits. Alright, so let's get the Germans out of here first. There's 6, and they're all defending it the same. So 6, that's 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and then we need 6 more Austro-Hungarians. Okay. Now, it's unlikely they're going to actually be getting into the British here, because the British have, as we know, 5, 10, 14 tanks. And there's not 14 hits here, guaranteed. But we'll just show you how we figure that out. So here we have, there's 15, doesn't matter who's on what here. So 20, 25, 30, actually, we might. We actually do. Okay, so we are going to be getting into the British a little bit here. So we have, got to make sure I do this right. So we have 30, and then we have 35. Oh, there's another one. There's 35. So we have 40. And we have 40, 45. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 35, 40, 45, 48. So we got 21 hits. So let's put that up here so don't forget. 21 hits. And then we've got, oh, for Pete's sake, too many numbers in my head. And the World War I music in the background. So that's 35, 40, 45, 48. So we have 48 times 3. So we're going to have 24 hits here, I think. Divided by 6. Yeah, so we got 24 hits. Alright, so we know we have, I think it's 15 tanks. So it's 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. We have 14 tanks. So that means we're going to take 10 hits. Okay, so 2, 4, 6, 7. And we'll take these 3, lose 8, 9, 10. Alright, so they did a bit of damage. Okay. And there we go. So now we'll take off the 21 hits that we had from before. 21. And again, it doesn't matter what's what. Oh, we're getting rid of the Germans though, aren't we? So we'll just say there's a lone. Oh, you can't have a lone artillery. Alright, so there we go. Throw all these guys on there. Alright, so they did withstand the British attack. Good for them. And then we'll get rid of those 5 units. We'll grab a thing there. Then we'll get rid of these 5 units. Chip. Just clean things up a little bit. Alright, so you got 14 British tanks on your soil to go along with the 14 artillery and the lone man. Alright, so that's what it looks like now. So right now Austria-Hungary will be making no money. Alright, so then the next assault that comes in will be the Italians. Now the Italians, of course, will likely get wiped out here. They don't have quite enough punch coming in. So we'll just take these here and we will set these up here. And 2 tanks. Yeah, so not a lot of punch here. So we'll just match up the infantry and the artillery, and then we'll have a whole bunch of 2s. Alright, so the Italians right now have, we have 10, sorry, not 10, 2, 3, 8. So we have 16 there, and then these are at 3s. So we got 9 at 3. That's 27. So 27 and 16 are 43. So that's 7 hits. I think I did that right. It really is hard to concentrate with this music in the background, I'm here to tell you. It's foreign songs. I don't understand. Okay, so we'll do that again. So we've got 8, 2 is 16. And then we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Why did I say 9 before? Anyway, so this is 18 here. We got 3 artillery. Yeah, so there's 9. So that's 18. And 8 at 2 is 16. 16 and 18 is 34. So that means divided by 6, we'll have 5 with 30, and then we need a 4 or less to get another hit. And we got it. Alright, so that's 6 hits on the Austro-Hungarians. So let's take 1, 2. So they have 6, 16, 20, 21. So they have 25 at 3. That's 75 divided by 6. That would be 12. And then up to a 3 to get another one. So that's 13 hits on the Italians. Minus 2, so that's 11 hits. So we've got, we'll take all these guys. That's 6, 7, 8, 9. Oops, can't take him. 9, 10, 11. Okay. Most of the Italians actually survive. They survive. They live to fight another day. With 1 man and 2 tanks. Have a chip for them. Alright. There we go. And then finally, of course, you know, you're going to have your follow-up with the Italians here. They'll be coming in like that. They'll be coming in like that. Meanwhile, Germany's losing everything up here. And the Americans are now coming in. So we'll line them up. Again, not enough to destroy Austria-Hungary, but enough to punch them down to where they're not going to be coming out to play. Who knows? Maybe the Russians will finish off Vienna. Alright, so that's what we got now. And we have, in defense, we have 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 20. 20 at 3, that's 60, that's 10 hits. But with that, they're going to absorb 1, so it's 9 hits they're going to take off. So we just got to remember that. So 9 hits. Boom. That's what they're going to... Let's see how much the Americans can gather here. Now, they've got a plane. Oh, so they might not take 9 because they might lose... No, they don't. Okay. There's the plane. So we have... Artillery is going to bump all these guys up here to 3s. These are all 3s. And then we got a bunch of 4s. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 8 at 3. That's 24. And then we have 9 at 4. That's 36. And 20, that's 60. So that's 10 hits. They are going to beat down on them. So these guys are getting 9. But one absorbs. So, no. Shoot. Anyway, they're losing at 10. Alright. So there goes that. And they got 9. Now, was that including the... Oh, I got to do this again. So we had 10, 15. I need a staff, right? Need a staff here. Maybe I'll monetize my channel and make some cash and hire somebody. Not going to happen. Okay. We've got 5, 10. We had 20. Yeah, so it's 9 because of the absorption. So we got 6, 7, 8, 9. So we'll leave a chip there. Alright. So actually, Austria-Hungary did quite well. They did better than I thought they would. There's still 1 German left there too, just to keep the multinational force going. But Austria-Hungary will be putting on... What did they make last turn? I think at the end of last round they only made 6. So they'll be putting on 2 men. Obviously cannot attack out, right? They can't go out and scoop some stuff. They got to stay home. And so, they'll have 2. Germany can't add anything. And I believe, well, you know what? Well, this is what you signed on for, folks. So we're going to actually roll this out. And for what it's worth, I didn't bring in the Americans. I could have brought in Americans. We'd have a couple more sitting here. But let's see if we actually need them. So the Russians would go first. So let's just have the Russians get closer. The Brits would go scoop that for the Russians after the fact. And the Austro-Hungarians would put 2 more guys on. With their $6 from the last turn. At the end of their turn, they still had their capital free of enemy control. Alright, So that's where we stand now. So the question is, looking at the math, they're not going to hurt Britain. Britain's got far too many tanks, but does Britain have enough to take them out? Well, how many hits do we need? We need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We need 12, 13 hits. So 13 times 6 is 78. I don't think we've got 78 worth of punch here. 1, 2. We flew a plane down here. We might. Can we get a plane here? 1, 2. Oh, shoot. Let's bring all of our planes. Now, who knows if the planes would have survived, but I'm pretty sure they would have because we have tons of reinforcements over there. Okay, so we're going to take 4 shots with our fighters. 1s and 2s, of course. Okay, well, we got 1 hit. Okay, so we'll kill the German. Didn't do any good for him there, Fritz. Okay, so now we've got... Oops. So 78. So now we need... So now we have... 2, 3, 4, 7. So now we have 12 times 6 is 72. And we have 1, 2, 3, 4. So 4. So that's... Oh, you know what? We might have it. I think we've got enough now. Because with the tanks at 3, we've got 14 tanks at 3. And that is 42. And then we've got 14 artillery at 4. And that's 54. Yeah, we got enough. So there go the Austro-Hungarians. They're gone. Germany is reeling. I think that we knew that this was a foregone conclusion. I just didn't know which nation was going to be victorious over them. But it's the Brits, and there's no way that they would have gotten into the British equipment there. All right. And then, of course, it's just a short trip up to Berlin. And here come the Russians, right? And wouldn't that be fitting, eh? Build up a Russian force and bring it over here and take Berlin. But as you can see, and this stuff would all be pushed further that way. One spot further east. And there'd be more and more stuff landing each turn that I have just foregone. Because I think we all knew this was over. So there you have it, folks. That's the low luck version of 1914. I hope you enjoyed it. It was actually kind of fun in that didn't have to worry about rolling midfuls of dice. Just do some math, and the smaller battles were very, very quick. And you start to learn that if you've got a man and an artillery, or 2 men in defense, that's 1 hit on the attacker. If you have a man and artillery attacking, that's 1 hit on the defender. And so if you have a stack of 5 of each, well, that's 5 hits, right? And so you do build a bit of a system, and away you go. But when you get those big ones like I had here, and there's tanks absorbing hits, and there's planes, and it ups this and changes things a bit, then you know can make a difference. But for the most part, it worked pretty well. It played a lot faster. So yeah, if anybody out there wants to try their own low luck version and maybe let the Germans build in Munich, that seems to be a key, is being able to build in Munich. And for those guys who do that, let me know, is that unlimited build, or is it 4, or is it 5, like with some people do with India? Is it 8? I've heard of some people doubling it, 8 units. Let me know. I'd be interested in knowing. Thanks so much for watching, folks. And, well, as we always say, hug your loved ones, and make sure you thank your friends for playing with you. And as always, folks, may those dice be with you.